controversy and uncertainty surround the election agreement known as Dhusmareb III. The pact is heading to Parliament this week, where it could be enacted into law. The deal was made between the federal government led by President Mohamed Farmajo, Southwest State President Abdiaziz Loftagreen, Hirshabelle President Ahmed Ware, Benadir Governor Omar Mohamed, Galmudug President Ahmed Korkor. The agreement would see 301 electors vote for each seat in the legislature. The election would take place before the end of the year, with no term extensions for the president or parliament.
A unified compromise. There is still a number of issues which are probably some of the federal member states might reject and the parliament might amend, but in overall I think it's a very good beginning.
But Puntland and Jubbaland have rejected the accord. Puntland President Saeed Denny and Jubbaland President Ahmed Madobe were absent from the latest meetings in Dhusmareb. They released a joint statement praising the meetings in July, but criticizing the latest ones. In respecting the viewpoints of the participants, Puntland and Jubbaland will make clear that points agreed in 19th August meeting in Dhusmareb about the electoral process were personal views of the President of Federal Government, the leaders of Galmudug, Hirshabelle, and Southwest. Some experts see this as being a dispute over money.
One of the key reasons is that it has been also indirect agreement between Saeed Denny, Puntland's president, and also Ahmed Madobe, and it's more related to how do you implement revenue sharing agreement between the government and federal member state.
The United Nations and the United States had urged no party to make unilateral decisions, which was seen as a break on Farmajo. But now the U.S. Embassy in Mogadishu is praising the agreement. In a tweet, the U.S. characterized Denny and Madobe as spoilers.
It's quite very strange for the international community and the U.S. that Puntland and Jubbaland are not in the meeting. But overall, there is a huge pressure on both FM states, and I think what you might see is that the train has left the first station, but on the next station I think they will join it, and you might see some small number of 2 or 3 amendments on the agreement of Dhusmareb III in order to have a unified agreement.
The coalition of opposition parties, FNP, welcomed the agreement, calling the pact, quote, a step in the right direction, unquote. They openly worried that opposition by Puntland and Jubbaland could unravel the deal. One criticism of Farmajo has been his slowness in replacing fired Prime Minister Hassan Ali Khari. Renowned Voice of America journalist Harun Maruf wondered about the delay on Twitter. Mahdi Gulaid has been the acting PM. The Puntland and Jubbaland leaders have been critical of his performance so far.
The Prime Minister has been removed, so from their point of view, you need to have a Prime Minister in the office in order to implement any agreement reached in Dhusmareb III. But on the other hand, from the President's perspective, he is the one who has the authority to appoint the Prime Minister, and he needs to have the necessary consultations in order to appoint a new Prime Minister.
Online pundits have accused both sides of trying to manipulate the negotiations for their own benefit. Critics of Puntland and Jubbaland say they want to conduct elections themselves. The Dhusmareb III agreement assigns polling to the National Independent Election Commission.
According to the federal draft constitutions, federal member states cannot run their own elections. You need to have a trust in the procedures, but also how do you conduct the election so that you can avoid election fraud, but also too much corruption.
Those who don't trust President Farmajo think the parliament will reject the agreement so he can call for an extension of their mandates.
The parliament are also under pressure by the international community. Other issue is that how do you make sure also the Senate the upper house has to more or less agree to that and endorse Dhusmareb 3. And it's vital that the dispute between the federal parliament and also the Senate leadership must be resolved, so that there is some sort of unified position from the both legislature house.
In the end, most feel that a deal will get done. The international community will continue to put pressure on, and the Somali people, at home and abroad, just want the wrangling to stop.
I think the ordinary citizens are waiting and are surprised for 6 months this squabble and the discussions and about only election, and they are not talking about how do you create jobs under COVID-19, how do you talk about the people's issues about health, about education. So I think astonishingly most of the Somali people, including diaspora, are quite surprised that the leadership has failed to discuss about issues matters for Somali citizens.
ADN TV will continue to update you on developments leading to elections in Somalia.